All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome. We're going to do the Arena Economy stream. Arena seems to still be updating or testing or whatever. So we're going to go knock out this stream really fast. Hopefully not really fast. Hopefully it will take some time. But by the end of this, Arena should be up and running. So here we go. Let's get into the stream. It was a big stream. It's interesting. They're doing a lot of interesting things. Yeah, let's get into it. Overall, I'm generally pleased. Let's go. By the way, look at Nate Price's picture. Is he not a badass? Oh, you know what I have to do? I think I have to make some volume adjustments here. Crank that up. Look how tough Nate is. He's barely smiling for us. Little bit. Chris Ko also seems unimpressed with who's ever taking his picture.
Welcome to another Wednesday live stream for Magic the Gathering Arena. This is a special one. This is going to be another of our developer live series, and this is on probably the biggest hot button topic that our community's had. So I've been joined by the big guns, the ones who know the answers and can tell us what's going on. We have the executive producer for Magic the Gathering Arena, Chris Ko, and
hey, everybody.
we have the principal game designer for the game, Chris Clay. And we have too many Chris's in our building. There's literally only a single Chris in the building that is able to be referred to as the Chris. Everyone else gets referred to by their last names. For the rest of this, it will be Ko and Clay. So, Ko, Clay, thanks for joining me, guys.
Thanks, Nate.
Glad to be here.
All right. So this is the biggest issue, the biggest question outstanding that a lot of people have had is kind of what the economy of the game is going to look like. An economy can mean a lot of things.
Do you think they made that
arena
how much
sweater
does it
just
to do
for
a
him? Particular thing. For us, the way that we think of economy is that's definitely a part of it, but it's a little bit different than that, right? Just also like player actions, how players play in the game, what they get in the game, these kinds of things.
Well, honestly, it's, hey, how does all of the free parts of the game, the pay parts of the game, the earn of the game, the rewards, the what you do every day and what you get, as well as what you're doing across time, how that all plays together. And it can be very complicated, and we want to make sure to get it right, which is right now why we're testing this with Rix, right? Today, Rix is launching for us, and we have a gold economy in there. That's our free-to-play currency, and we're going to test that with players long before we get into any pricing or any of our gem-based economy, which is our money currency, our real money currency.
Cool.
Yeah.
So right off the bat, there's the gem-based economy and the coin economy. The gem-based has to do with real money. Coin economy is stuff you can earn in-game.
And that's why we're going out with it initially. We want to make sure that we get eyes on it, we have time to iterate on it, and really hone in on the values that are going to make it a great game to play.
Right, so if there's one theme for today, it's we're testing these things, we have these ideas, we got to try them out. We need the feedback. So far, the beta testers have been amazing for that.
Yes.
And we need that help to continue.
Yep. All right. Well, I want to try to reserve as much time of this stream as possible. We've got an hour in here, and I want to get as much as possible to try to actually get some Q&A with the people who are in the chat itself. We have an article that's up on Daily MtG that you can go check out that goes through kind of all the specifics of the things that we're going to talk about. We're going to try to add a little extra nuance here, and I apologize if I end up talking fast. I've been called out for that in some of the streams before, but we've got a lot to get through, and we want you guys to be able to answer questions. So I want to start off with kind of our overall philosophy. The article states more or less that the idea is to make the player's time as fun as possible.
Yes.
How
like
are we going to do that? How are we going to make it something that people actually enjoy doing?
I mean, part of what we're doing there is we understand that people have time and they get to spend it a lot of different ways. So with the first take on the economy, we've front-loaded a lot of the rewards so that you can get in, play some MTG Arena, and get out and feel like you've accomplished something. We also know that there are players who are going to want to spend a lot of time each day really diving into Arena, playing a lot of matches, so we've got good tail to the economy as well.
Yeah, and we've really designed it for the different types that might fit into your life. So if you want to play every day for an hour or two, you're getting most of the value of your play with those wins in those first.
I like how he said good tail. This was a big problem for me in duels, is there was no tail, to use the same metaphor. Once you hit your gold cap, you were done in duels. You could still rank up the ladder. You could still collect money through quests. But as far as normal gameplay goes, you were capped. And normally you finish your quests before you're gold capped anyway, so you're pretty much done once you hit the gold cap, and there was really no motivation to keep playing at all unless you just like playing Magic, which is motivation enough plenty for me most of the time, but a little bit of tail would have gone a long way, and here there it looks like they're making the right choice to keep people in the game.
If you want to play a couple times a week, you can save up some of the value and get these bursts, or maybe you want to save up a whole week and come in and play for a longer session. We just want to make sure that when you do it, it's fun and there's rewards, so you feel like you're making progress and getting what you want out of the game.
Cool. So, I mean, I know that one of the points of concern that we've heard, because with the article going live earlier, we've been able to listen to a lot of feedback from our community about this.
And also a lot of questions, because it's a complicated topic, right?
Yeah. But there's been the question of rates, like how much are people going to need to grind to get certain things? How much are they going to need to play to get certain things? How much do we expect of people's time? It sounds like with the idea of kind of front-loading these rewards on the things that are easier for people to accomplish through play, we're trying to aim for giving people a lot of their value for the initial efforts that they're going to be putting in, and then giving them a chance to kind of get additional value if they want to invest more time.
Yeah, that's correct.
Right? Okay.
Yeah, I think really what it comes down to is we want you to come back and play some more. We don't want it to be this, I've got to grind all of this time so that I can get this one thing. Instead, we'd like you engaged every day. We're going to keep the content changing up. We have cards coming in. We have different events coming in. And so we want it to be a real viable and valuable part of your life.
Cool. Well, they'll roast us if we just keep on with philosophical talk. So I want to actually get
They might want to know
how do you get the cards? Yeah. So let's take a quick look. We've actually got a nice graphic that spells out a swath of the ways that you're able to earn cards in the game. It's things like booster packs, keeper drafts, which we'll elaborate on here in a second, match
weekly
wins,
win bonuses, match wins.
weekly win bonuses, wild cards, which are kind of a new thing along with the vault. It's another new thing that we're working on.
Yeah.
We'll explain those all in greater detail moving forward. Let's dive in first to the keeper draft. The reason that we've chosen to go with a keeper draft. For those of you guys who don't know exactly what that terminology means, keeper draft is just if you drafted at your local store where you go in, you get your booster packs, you open them, and then obviously the cards that you get to take home with you. That's exactly the same thing here, where you draft, you keep the cards that you draft.
Exactly.
Why have we chosen to go with that as a card acquisition vehicle for people?
Because it's the best.
I mean, I know for myself, being a limited player, that's a fun way to expand your collection. It lets you aim for winning the draft, and when you see that card you particularly want for a constructed deck, you can go grab it. I know that if you don't have that keeper part, getting those cards that you really need and then having them go away at the end isn't necessarily the best experience.
Feels bad.
I wonder what Chris Clay's like to play. I feel like he's kind of a slow player. But on the other hand, he could be super fast. But I have the feeling that he's very methodical when he plays.
To know, man, I really need this card.
I opened the card I needed, and it's gone.
Yeah. Up next, we have match wins, and I want to look at match wins kind of through the lens of that rate conversation we were having earlier, and kind of front-loading your rewards, because this is how this has been designed. Is like the rewards you get for winning your matches, and right now it's all the best of one stuff that we've got, but looking at best of three at some point down the road too.
Yeah.
The rewards that you're getting for your match wins are geared towards those people who we want playing for that early portion of time, that shorter portion of time, but then also, like, again, graduating out as you play longer, right?
Yeah, so I mean, for the match wins, we're trying to, again, condense into a shorter session where you can get the most value out of the system, but still gain value over time if you want to go in deeper. It's going to be a tricky balance point. We're playing with a lot of different variables within that system. Mm-hmm. We've talked about the cards that you're getting after a win post-match. That goes up to 30 wins. and we're playing with different rates depending on which win you're on. So
you get a card after each win up to 30 wins. 30 wins is a lot. It's not unattainable, but it's a lot. If you're at like a 66% win rate, that's 45 matches you have to play. Each match takes 10 minutes. That's 450 minutes. It's 4 hours. If each match takes half an hour, that's a long time. That's an entire day. I was pushing for this. So you get a new card every time. What I don't know is, can you get a wild card from these match wins? And I'm not sure that ever gets answered.
we can control your ability to pick up those individual cards and not have you always be getting commons. We can pepper in the rares there and know that you're going to get that.
So like as you win more matches, the reward, like I guess we should kind of expound on when you win matches, like the types of things that you get when you win matches. Like you get cards, like actual singles for winning your matches.
Yeah,
correct?
every time you win the game, we're testing out right now.
Yeah.
Big first win of the day. So, hey, I came in, I win, I felt like I made a difference.
Yeah.
But you're also getting cards and a combination of cards and gold. And those cards are pulled from standard, and there's always a chance that it could be of any rarity. But over time, we're also playing with, like Chris had suggested, making sure that the rarity floor goes up so that you are getting more valuable, more rare cards over time. Mm-hmm. And we're playing with the different distributions right now. We're not exactly sure where it is,
sure,
but we're all doing it about that play time, that fun time.
Yep.
Right? We don't want to necessarily put the thing so far out there that you feel like you just have to grind to get there. Right? And we don't want to make them too close up front so that you don't feel like they were satisfying.
Okay.
And that's just one of the ways that we're giving out cards. Because like you said, we have Keeper Draft, we have that, and we have a bunch more stuff to talk about.
Yeah.
That's a tricky psychological point. Like, if the cards are too easy to get, there's no satisfaction in getting the cards. And doing a little bit of grinding and reaching for those cards does make it more satisfying when you get what you want. But that is weird, building around that psychological component. Trying to balance how much reward is worth it. That is very, very tricky.
Yeah. So in the article that went up today, do we have like any idea of the when you're gonna be earning these rewards? I know we said on match wins. Do we have like a kind of for some of these bigger bonuses like the gold rewards and things like that? Is there like a set schedule we're working on right now? Is that something we're still kind of playing around with?
I mean, that's something we're going to iterate on throughout beta. I think the other part of this is for a lot of the rewards we are really win focused on having the rewards associated with wins. And this is really for the health of the queues and the health of the product. We want to make sure that people are going in and looking to win with their matches. For those players who have trouble winning, there are other avenues to getting the booster packs, primarily through quests, which with this release of beta have a much wider range of difficulty and rewards. And they're sort of the backstop to make sure that people who aren't winning are still making progress towards their goals.
Yep.
We've definitely, people have been tuning in and watching the gameplay streams that we've seen.
It would suck to never
we've
win
been
a game.
doing. Like I build my decks to complete my
hard to
quest,
keep
and it's
playing
always
if you
do
never
a
won a
thing, not
game.
win a thing right now, which has been, most of what it's been at least. It's been really nice to be able to just try to complete an action, even if I lose, which I've lost a not insignificant amount of the time. It's nice to still get something.
We'll mix it up. There'll be a few wins in there, but
They were both chuckled up after that. Let's see that one more time.
we really want a diversity of play.
Cool. Next, I want to get to Ben. Most of what it's been at least. It's been really nice to be able to just try to complete an action, even if I lose, which I've lost a not insignificant amount of the time. It's nice to still get something at the end.
We'll mix
both
it up. There'll
enjoy
be a
it.
few wins
Chris
in there, but we really want
enjoys him
diversity of
losing
play.
on
Cool.
stream.
Next, I want to get to the weekly win bonus.
Right.
This goes beyond just like your daily matches that you win. Get something. You get something. What does the weekly win bonus mean?
So the weekly win bonus at the moment is on your second win of the week, you're going to get a common wild card. On your fifth win of the week, you're going to get an uncommon. And on your 10th win of the week, you're going to get a rare or mythic.
Okay.
So again, that's providing a baseline of if you're playing, if you're winning, you're going to get access to rare wild cards and common wild cards, uncommon wild cards to help push you towards that deck you're trying to build.
Cool.
And to be clear, all these things add up. So even though we call it a weekly win bonus, if you're winning, if you're getting a match bonus, and you're after every win, you're getting something. If after every quest is completed, you're getting something.
Yeah.
And then the weekly win bonus is just the number of wins. So maybe you want to play a lot on a Saturday and go to that 10-win point. You can, or you can do it across the week. And all of those are adding up. So every
pretty
session,
hard for those 10
you're going to
wins
get
early
some
in the
combination of these. So when we say we want to give
Extra
away a lot
rare
of cards
for the
a
rest
lot
of
that
the week.
value, that's how we're doing it, is across these different types.
Seems good.
Especially
if it's a wild
so
card.
you guys mentioned wild cards. We're talking about
Straight-
the weekly
straight
bonus.
into your
I'm going to make
good
our
deck.
video guy Sean real mad at me for a second because I actually do want to skip ahead to the wild cards now. We were going to save that for a little bit later, but it's really important to make sure that we kind of run through them. Like, for people who haven't read the other stuff that's out there right now, what is a wild card?
So a wild card is a mythic rare, rare, uncommon, or common card that you can get when you're opening up a booster in place of that rare or mythic that you can also get through opening up the vault.
Can we just call it a mythic and a rare? So that we don't have a mythic, rare, and a rare? Because that's confusing. Just have mythic, rare, uncommon, common. Mythic, rare is... I don't like it. Throw it out.
Vault. And what that card allows you to do is redeem it for any mythic
Any mythic.
card.
Any card of that rarity.
Yeah, any rare card, uncommon, any common card.
Okay. And you said like they come in booster packs. They obviously come in as your weekly win bonus rewards. Are there other avenues for them to be acquired by players there? Like we know we mentioned the vault earlier.
Yeah.
They're also in the vault, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And part of what
We'll
this
get to
is
the vault in a
intended
second.
to do for players is this is our way to give players opportunities to earn or to go after the cards that they specifically want for their decks and their collections, right?
Exactly.
Yep.
Some people call it crafting systems or a way to make the cards. We use it as a wild card because we want cards to be collectible, right? We're the original collectible card game,
Yeah.
so we want to make sure to keep it as cards. And there's a lot to talk about the reasons why we did this versus something else.
Actually, I would love to talk about that right now, actually. 'Cause
I'll
that
keep
is,
doing your job for you. and
no,
then
no,
we can
please,
switch.
please continue to segue for me. Are you officially Segue, Chris?
I am Segue.
You get to be Segue, Chris. You get to be like the second person who gets to use Chris in the room now, so or in the building. But yeah, because that has been another big point of questions, one of the concerns and areas that people needed a little clarity in the community today is like there are other games and other models out there that exist already for how players go about acquiring individual and specific cards. And the way that we've chosen to go about it is something that other people aren't doing.
Right,
And
this is new. This is
Yeah.
unique to us.
so
right?
why have we chosen to go this route as opposed to going with like a more traditional or well-known crafting method?
Yeah, I mean the real goal for the change over to wild cards, because obviously we had looked at dusting systems being in the card space, is we do want players to take advantage of the depth of Magic. There are a lot of cards coming out each year for Magic, which is one of the reasons we get to be more generous with our card system, because we have a lot of cards to get into players' hands. And we went with wild cards because we saw a lot of issues in the traditional crafting method, mostly in just going in and destroying your collection to chase after what you're going for. And in destroying the collection, it actually starts limiting what we're able to present to players in terms of play opportunities. We think there is a really wide range of play opportunities out there in the digital space and the paper space to give people custom events, to take advantage of the cards that they wouldn't necessarily take advantage of in standard. And it also prevents some of the downsides of those systems in terms of remorse and even in expertise. So if you're an expert player, you know exactly what every card is worth, exactly what you want to go for, and you can predict what's going to be important as the next set comes out in a format. Maybe you're not going to have a lot of remorse, but when you're destroying your collection to reach a target deck, it really creates a lot of opportunity for a feel-bad experience.
All right. So their main goal is to reduce the feel-bad experience. I know people have their issues with this system. So what they're saying is that you really can't get rid of a card till you have 4 of it. So if it's a crappy mythic rare that you're never going to play, you still have to collect 4 before you can start trading in the extra ones for cards you actually want. But they're trying to sell it by offering us events, which seems good. And I assume they're talking about things like Pauper would be the most mainstream version, or something else that gets you to actually want to have comments. And the fact is, I like Pauper a little bit. I think it's fun. If they're going to create events that reward you with in-game gold or cards or packs or something, I will play a Pauper event, no problem. If they're going to make like a mono green event or something, if the rewards are there, I'll play it. As long as I have the time or whatever. So I think this is a good way. Like, I think a lot of people are going to be a little pissed that they can't dust their cards whenever they want. But if they do these events nicely, I think it'll make less remorse for those guys in the end.
Where you're going to be like, oh man, I really wish I had that rare I had dusted. The flip side of it, and the side that I know a lot of people are going to call out, is, but it removes some of the player agency. And that's where it comes down to how we're building the wildcard system. I think the primary thing that everyone is going to be looking at throughout this beta phase is the rate of acquisition. And what we're trying to get to with that rate of acquisition is that it is a feel-good experience. You're opening up packs of cards, you're getting cards for your collection. Maybe you don't want every single one of those, but you're also getting the wild cards that are allowing you to chase down that specific deck you're trying to build. And what you're left with at the end of the day is ideally a system where you've got the deck you want in a similar time to a traditional crafting system, but you also have these other opportunities to adjust if the meta shifts, if something new comes out, without that additional layer of remorse.
I mean, Magic has more ways to play with the cards than any other card game, right? Over 25 years, people have come up with all sorts of different formats and modes and house rules and whatever it is. And events are going to be a big part of what Magic Arena is about, right? Like we are going to explore, you know, the poppers, the cubes, the whatever it is, and there's going to be limited and constructed formats. And we want to give people, whether it's a gladiator way at the top, a brewer, a person who just came in, that diversity of play. Also, even though, you know, we start with standard and the very pinnacle of it is, you know, these meta-relevant decks that are battling it out, there's a lot more game space to play, especially across the skill levels as people come into play. So that means
for a while, you know, they were only promising standard, and they still only promise standard, but here you clearly see that they're trying to have a lot of different play modes with these cards, which should be great.
Different decks, that means different combinations of things, different amounts of complexity. And we want to give everybody a collection. This is a card game. We don't want to just make everything a currency and then have you chase it. We want to give you this library of great content that we can then use in all sorts of ways and get asks from the players. Hey, can you make this? We came up with that. And have over time, you just have all of these cards that can be played with in all of these different ways.
So just to clarify, because I know that this is something that it's not currently being spammed in chat, will at least be spammed on Twitter soon. We're not talking about launching, like you were talking about, like there's a lot of like history in Magic, and there's a lot of ways to play.
Say cube.
Yeah, you
legacy,
said,
legacy,
yeah,
legacy,
thank you for making life easy for me. We're not launching with like cube, or we're not looking to launch a cube or modern or any of this stuff. But we are going to be exploring opportunities for people to play ways other than just standard and limited with the cards that are in the game, correct?
Exactly. Okay. Thank you for clarifying.
You're very welcome.
But it's important to note that this is actually why we're building the game in front of players, right? We want their feedback to get this right, to make this valuable, to take this great game that is so diverse and playable in so many ways and bring it. And when we launch, we have to start somewhere. But we're going many other places, and that's safe to say. Like, if you find it fun, if you found that thing, and enough people have, we want to make that for you digitally.
I want to circle back around before we get onto the vault to something that you had said, Clay. You were mentioning the fact that like we release a lot of cards during the course of the year. Like lots of sets come out, and the sets are large usually, and consequently that means there's a large influx of new cards that players would potentially need to acquire, or build and add to their collection over the course of time. And we are absolutely aware of the fact that that's the case, and that is part of the reason that we're building the system this way, is to try to decrease the lag time before people are able to start performing at a high level within like these sets as new rotations happen, right?
Exciting.
And we called it out in the article. We absolutely want players to be able to go after the cards that they want. We don't want to make that this insurmountable goal of.
I mean, I like this because Eternal
time and effort to reach
did take
that.
like
We
you had
know
to
that that's
like burn
important, and it
5,
is a core
6
part of the
rares
system.
to get
I'll
one
probably
rare.
circle back around to this again after we talk about the vault, because the vault kind of plays into this
That
as well.
sucks.
Right.
Considering,
wild
I
cards,
mean,
you
I
don't
guess we
have
should
to
just jump in. Like,
do
what is the
anything.
vault?
Yeah,
Get
yeah.
a rare for a rare.
Which one of you? Which one of you?
So I'll go for it.
Okay.
The vault is our answer to where your progress goes when you acquire a 5th copy of a card. It basically goes towards vault progress. Whenever you open up a booster, you're getting vault progress. And the vault for us is this place
It says items here. What the heck do you think an item is?
where we get to reward you for playing the game at an extra level. We've got lots of ideas for what we want to put into the vault. Initially, we are experimenting in beta with having wildcards in there. So again, we have this baseline of wildcards that we're giving out to you.
Yep.
At the moment, it's not random, but we're giving you a chunk of wildcards as you complete the vault. This is again one of those places we're aware too. The speed at which you advance the vault is really important. And that's something that we've honed in on our side over the last couple of months through running lots of simulations in the economy team and even in our own internal playtests, because we're looking for that feel-good moment. We want you to see that you're making progress towards that and that it is achievable.
Yeah, and in pursuit of making the most of your time and making it as fun as possible, we've designed it from every game in the win to the quests across multiple games to the weekly rewards to all of these layers, including the vault pack opening, and the vault is sort of the longer term, because you need different kinds of reward, different kinds of fun over time, so that the month itself is just as fun as the week or the day or the match. So these all play together to just say, hey, we front load this value, come back and play tomorrow and have some more fun, play some today and feel like your time was well spent.
And
Seems good. Seems good.
Find that opportunity to circle back around.
Way better than duels.
Like rotations, for example. The vault and wildcards, kind of the combination of them, gives you this long-term promise of being able to, or long-term potential, I should say, to start to acquire and accrue the excess value things. Like,
Sure.
I have the deck that I
whatever you want
exactly.
to do, right?
Like I have the things that I want. So when the rotation happens and I know I want to build this new deck, I have the materials to help me get X% of the way there. And I might have to do a little work to bridge that gap up to 100%. But like we're not trying to build a system where new sets come out, like have fun, like you're starting from scratch effectively. We're trying to, the system is designed in a way that people can be able to stockpile those resources to use them at a later date.
Yeah, definitely. And also, your other cards we want to keep valuable through events, so that there's always some way to play Magic. Now, of course, Standard is often what's on the top of some people's minds.
Yeah.
And, like
don't care
any
about
card
playing
game, when we
Standard that
rotate,
much.
it's to keep that format fresh.
I'd much rather draft and
there's
play
definitely, you're going to have to,
oddball formats.
use your wild cards to get there, but we want to make sure that you can plan ahead of time and really save up for it.
Right. Tying kind of all this together is we've talked about like the booster pack itself first and foremost. There are a couple of different pack opportunities that you're going to be able to acquire within the game. You have draft packs, which are the 14 card packs that are going to look very similar to if you open up a physical booster pack.
They actually use the exact same coalition that we use. Like, we are legitimate. We want to be draft like you know it for that, because it's such a core part of the experience.
And the booster packs that players get as rewards, and that players can
No foil
get
land
from
though,
the
folks.
store, for
They took
example.
the
Like
land
these
out.
are 8-card booster
No
packs, right?
spiking
that have,
foils in draft.
Is it a rare or mythic, 2 uncommons and 5 commons? Did I math that out right? Based
got
on
it
what we're
right.
looking for right now. Okay. And
And then any one of those can be a wild card, or I guess all of them, but that would be weird. But anyone can be.
It'll happen to somebody. Somewhere, sometime, someone will open up a pack.
Full wild card pack. Hey boy! That's what I'm talking about.
And it'll all be wild.
Lee Sharp is sitting 10 feet
They're
from
like
me. And like our economy guys are literally sitting where I can see them. And I'm very surprised that they didn't immediately shout out the exact percentage. Yeah, thankfully they didn't. But in any case, it's a thing that can happen. But it's just like opening these packs and wild cards is, I'm putting this all together in my head and just seeing the booster packs themselves are going to provide just cards, just bulk cards. You're going to get rares, you're going to get...
All right, here's my biggest problem. I was planning to get most of my cards through draft. But you're not going to get wild cards in draft, and wild cards are some of the best cards, or are the best card you can get, because they're basically any card. I don't know really how I remedy that. I don't want to just have to grind like a standard ladder to get boosters, because that's actually the best way to get cards versus drafting, which should be the best way to get cards. Now, maybe there'll be like a reward if you win the draft, you get a wild card. Then we could be talking. But I'm a little scared about wild cards being so powerful and necessary and not being able to get any in draft.
At uncommons, you're going to get your commons and your mythics, all this stuff. You're also going to get these wild cards as your ways to get those specific cards that you want. I know that we have a system, we talked about some in the article, where the way that it works is more or less, I mean, it's if you go on a dry spell, you're not opening any wild cards. We've got a level that we want to hit, and the system makes it easier over time to make sure that you end up getting the things that you're looking for, right?
Yeah, we know that
Dry spell.
after a certain number of packs, you're going to have that mythic rare wild card.
Right.
And what we're looking for is a system that can only be better than that.
Okay.
You're not going to run into that case where you're opening up pack after pack after pack, and because the RNG gods don't like you, you're not getting there.
Yes.
And realize that after every win right now, we're testing a system where you get a card. It's going to be a common most of the time, but it can be a mythic rare too.
Okay.
So it's not necessarily a wild card, but you can get cards in so many different ways because
Not
we
wild
wanna just
card
give you that
confirmed
value
for
so you can
match
play
wins?
Magic that in that diverse
Those are for
way.
like the daily win.
Those are for every win.
So those are the match wins. What I
The
mean.
match wins,
Yeah,
yep.
yeah, okay.
Yep.
All right, so this has covered the majority of the things that we've seen bubbling up, at least kind of touched on them as far as this is all concerned. I mean,
Can't wait to spike my first mythic rare off a match
going to be very
win.
curious to see what people in
That'll
the
be
chat
good.
Let's hear
think
what they
about
have to say,
this. I did have one other thing. I left my pen down, so I don't have the note that I have right now. But if I come back to it, if all goes well, someone will ask the question that I had in my mind in chat, and we can actually answer it directly. But
I mean, the only other thing I really wanted to call out is as we go into the beta, all of the developers are playing this gold economy.
Yes.
We're not sitting back with our complete collections going, ha ha ha, the plebs must work for it. We're working for it too. We're going to be in there playing against you in the exact same
they're
model.
doing that.
That reminded me of exactly what I was going to say, which is all of these things that we're working on right now. We're going to reiterate this a lot because it's very important for everybody to know. You will notice that during the course of this, we haven't done too much. Here is the exact coin cost of this particular item. And there's a reason for that. Like, we want the people in the beta to test these things out. And any numbers that we give you today, I don't know if there's been a time in the history of ever that a company has been like, here's exactly what we're doing at the very beginning of the beta, and it's been spot on through all the testing. And so, we're tossing this out there, and
we will change things based on what happens through this Rick's play test.
Yeah, no, exactly. And so, the
boys.
way
Make
that
your
we're changing
voices
things
heard.
is as
Tell
you said,
them
it comes
what you
back
like.
to that
Tell them what you
initial
don't.
design philosophy is we want the players, their valuable time to be as much fun as possible. And so if people are out there telling us, we don't like this system, it is not any fun for me, I am not enjoying this, not only will we get that in verbal feedback from them, very, very verbal feedback, the play numbers dictate these things. Like we have access to a wide swath of data that helps us make these decisions.
Yeah, we'll be running analytics on it all to see if it's coming at the rate, and then like Chris said, we're going to be doing it too.
Yeah.
And we want something out there that feels good.
Yeah, I mean, if there's anything I've learned in my time, Magic players love to tell you when they're not enjoying something, and so we will know.
It's because they care, right?
They do. No, it's exactly.
We care too. So
it is exactly right. So we're going to hear it, and we're going to listen to
really
it.
surprising.
We're going to use this to make things as best as we can. So,
and the other thing I would throw out there is for everyone who is in closed beta, they've been in a system without many of these features.
Yes.
And for many people over the course of this last phase of beta, they didn't get to the deck they wanted with us putting in a lot of packs.
Yeah.
Because we had reached a lot of the learning we had. So we went really generous over Christmas with the pack opening. And what I think a lot of people are going to see is in this new system, you have to open far fewer packs to actually reach your goals than you would in the old. And I think that's going to be one of the the places that we're really looking for feedback from players is you've played the old one where you're just opening. Now that you have these extra avenues, how long is it taking you to get to what you want?
Yeah, and to your point about the people who are in the beta not having access to this and like getting access to it now, more and more people are actually starting to get access. I just I'll
Gotta get
come back to this
Tetsumak,
again
man.
towards the end of the show, but
Tetsumak.
we cleared through all of our priority queue yesterday. We have had every single person who is in that priority queue should have received their NDA, initial NDA email. For those of you out there who haven't and think you should have, keep an eye out for the MTG Arena social channels tomorrow, because we're going to have some messaging that goes out that lets you guys know what you should do if you think you should have gotten your NDA and you haven't. So we've seen a lot of messages
Check
today.
those if you're not in, people. I'm in,
when
so I'm not going to check them.
I haven't done one of these things. When am I going to get in? The answer is soon. Like, we're actually, like, every day we're inviting new people in, and it's all coming off of the people who aren't on the priority list now. So we're ramping up pretty quickly the number of people who got
sign up
invited
and let's get your feedback.
Yeah. Feedback. You guys were kind enough to join us here for this hour. I know it's a weird amount of time to do a stream for, but this is our way to be directly engaging with you. So let's take advantage of the fact that we can be directly engaging with you to start to answer some questions. I have my wonderful Michelle. She's one of our other community managers here. She's been pulling out all the stuff that we need to get some questions. I'm going to toss some things to you guys. Pardon me if I have to hem and haw through some of these. I need to read them before I read them out loud so I know what I'm saying. So Little Cheeky says booster packs as in physical ones. This is unclear. Let's reiterate for the sake of like what the two types of digital booster packs are. In fact, we should even be careful because one of them is called a booster pack and one of them is called a draft pack, correct? What are the differences between the two of those things? Booster pack, so the thing that you will be able to get from the store, the thing you'll get from rewards potentially.
Before Arena goes live.
Look like?
So that booster pack is, like we had said, you're going to be getting a rare mythic in it, you're going to be getting 2 uncommons in it, and then you're going to be getting 5 common cards. Any of those cards could transform into a wild card.
It's also by set, so just like a booster pack would be for...
Here's the thing with the 8-card booster packs. Some people had hopes that when you buy a physical booster, you would get some kind of redemption code for Arena, which I think is a good plan. Like tying everything together and making everything work better, I think it is a good plan, but I don't know how you're going to do that when you sell 15-card boosters in paper and you give 8-card boosters on this game. But you know what? I'd still just take an 8-card booster. Any kind of free pack for buying something in paper. It seems like good incentive. It seems to work well with both games. I don't know. They never really mentioned that in this whole stream, and I don't know if they're going to do that.
Tabletop, we have them by set.
Cool. So the other side of that is the draft pack, which if you have cracked a pack and smelled the wonderful smell of fresh cardboard recently, this will look familiar to you.
Right.
This is just the exact same kind of thing that you would see in a store. I guess it's missing the land.
I agree, Sundleray, but
give people lands
it creates
in this situation.
problem
but
when
it's
want
the
to
one rare
redeem real
mythic,
boosters for the equivalent.
Uncommon, 3 uncommons, and then the rest are commons. I won't get into anything as far as like premium cards and that kind of stuff right now, which you'll see in the physical product because that's something we're still working on.
One important thing to confirm is the chance of the mythic is the same as in tabletop.
There you go.
So really, it's those slots: rare, the 2 uncommons, the commons, and then the mythic can swap in.
Cool. And these are digital things within the game that you can get.
Correct.
Cool. All right. It's a little cheeky. Hope that answers your question. Shinino Kage says, how hard is it going to be to earn gold for people who might not be that good at Magic? I think this comes back to some of the stuff that you were talking about earlier. Like, not everything is a win-based
tough
metric.
subject.
Like, there are definitely win rewards, but we've got things built into the game for people to acquire things that don't matter on how good you are. It just matters on, other things. Play, right? What are some of the ways that people can earn these things, that earn in-game items?
They kind of covered this already. I don't really like to take all this time to go over it again.
So imagine a system where you never win a game of Magic.
That's
worst case scenario. You never win a game of Magic.
Little tears.
Yeah, tiny tears all the time.
Thanks for reminding me of my life.
But you will be completing your quests, and completing the quests will earn you gold. Gold will allow you to buy packs to get on this chain of getting what you want. Our matchmaking should be ensuring that if you're one of those players who is not winning a lot, you will be playing against other players who are not winning a lot, therefore leading to players who are winning just because math.
And let's say, You're only able to win once. That's
I'm quiet. Yeah, I cranked them up this time more than I cranked them up last time. All right. I appreciate the input.
another reason we front-loaded the value. That first win right now, we're testing a lot of the value there, plus the quest is going to get you a lot of the value you would get every day.
That's a good point.
So we're doing that to really make sure that everyone can have a rewarding experience, but that skill still does matter.
Yeah.
Right? It's a core tenet of Magic, but we want you to have a fun experience, which is where matchmaking matches people of equal skill.
Yeah, we don't want to primarily reward people for high win rates, but we do want to be able to say that high win rate does provide you some
And it
additional.
does matter,
Yeah,
right.
yeah, exactly. Cool. Let's see. I've gotten a bunch of new stuff, so it scrolled my stuff up. Fiaber95 asks, how is the vault going to work when you complete a collection? Like, if you have 4 of everything that you could currently use a wild card for, do we have any idea right now what that's going to look like?
I can answer that. At the moment, what we're doing is the vault stores up. So
Store it up.
If
Seems
you decide
fine.
not to open your vaults, you can let them store up, and then you could open multiple vaults in a row.
So you can go overfull effectively?
You can go over full.
Oh, that's
we're
cool.
not letting causing you to learn progress on the vault if you've gone over, because let's say you're in a draft and you go over, you're not able to open up immediately, and depending on what's in the vault, the things that you're opening from it should apply into, like, at the moment, the wild cards that you can carry over. If we're doing draft tokens, that's something you could spend in the future.
Yeah, to be really clear, the vault, we're experimenting heavily right now, and we're using wild cards, but this system's actually designed to not be the same. Like, every set, or as we're releasing, we will change what the contents are, because what players value, what the meta is, what's going on may change, or we may want to feature or promote something. So it will always give you that great value for all of the extra work you've done, but we want to make sure to keep it relevant as time.
I can't tell if these are random rewards or not. Like, the graphic they showed is like a little treasure chest or loot box. So you just click on the box and you might get a wild card, or you might get a draft token, or you might get something else. I'd much rather, like, pick it from, like, a store. Like, I've earned 100 vault points. I can buy 1 wild card or 2 draft tokens or something. But it sounds like it might be kind of random. And then I think they get in a bad spot where if they're just giving cards from the set out, then they get back into this point of, like, if you have the complete set and one of the vault prizes is a card in that set, you're not getting anything out of it, really. So my guess is they just can't put that in the vault, like cards from the actual set, unless it's like a promo card or something. Yeah, I don't know.
Time goes forward.
Okay. So this is one I'm pretty sure I know the explicit answer to, but I want to make sure that it gets asked because I think I've seen this on social a few times today too. ST Sung, or Stung, depending on how you want to actually pronounce that, asks, can you put more cards? Can you put the cards that you don't own in full copies of 4 into the vault? Which is basically a way, I believe, of asking, can you dust cards? Can you dust individual cards to the vault?
Yeah, I already downloaded it much
I'll
earlier.
let you
but,
guys give me the answer.
Does not seem to be up
The answer
yet.
is no.
No. Okay. Cool. No, this is just one of the tenets of how this.
But I'm certainly going to hop on the
And
second the
honestly,
stream is over.
We actually had a lot of questions from devs ourselves about that one, and that's where the wild cards really want to come in. It's not that you're not getting value out of those cards. We're going to have events where you can do those things, or maybe you get a new deck idea and you want to build it. The wild cards really get you to that.
I mean, I love how they're defending themselves with these events, but there's still going to be some cards you never play. There's going to be like a 2-1 for 2, which is like strictly worse than a grizzly bear. That's going to find hard to even find in like a pauper format or some other kind of weird format. There'll be cards you never play. And you just have to collect them and keep them. Yo, Unknown, what up?
There is a psychology change that has to happen. You don't have to destroy your cards to get the cards you want.
Got it. All right. So this next question is great because I knew that this was going to be a question.
You need to get in on this
and
arena, Unknown.
I know that we are ready to explain how we want to answer this. It's also a great name. Hat Crab Zombie asks, so what happens when cards in your collection
trading
rotate
just
out?
it's too much opportunity to exploit people.
I know that we knew that this was going to be.
I'm glad
as
we're
soon
not
as we started
trading.
saying this
I
stuff,
don't
this
know
was
if
going to be a
you're
question somebody had.
sarcastic or
And
not, but
it ultimately comes down to the fact that at some point down the road there will be more, like you're going to have more cards than are in standard in the game. We don't want those to have no use or no.
What
value,
unknown?
right?
Exactly. So there's lots
You
of
have
ways
to get this now
This
unknown.
is already done in tabletop Magic.
Mm-hmm.
We're not looking currently at anything like a modern format or anything like that that matches up to tabletop.
Yeah.
But this is where I think Arena will be interesting because we're going to get player feedback and figure out what digital-only formats we want to bring forward.
Sure.
Because you have these cards, you have these ways to play with them. They have effects. They're fun to do. The fun doesn't stop there. So let's give you other ways to play and win. Because remember, while you're doing constructed as the core, these events also are rewarding. You can also buy into them
we'll
with
play
gold and
unknown.
play them for free
We'll
and
play
get other
plenty.
stuff out of them. Maybe packs that you want then or more gold. So we see it more as building your
Yes.
possibility space.
Trust
what you
in
can
Sundle
play
Ray.
with Magic, depending on the kind of player you are.
So we're trying to make a game where none of the cards that you have are going to inherently have no use or value at any point.
Right.
Like,
It might be fun, to do a short-term event where maybe you got to scramble and use the cards that everybody else says can't be used. Chris was talking about this,
Yeah.
right?
The bottom half.
Right, the bottom half.
event.
And those things are fun, and if we have this library of it, it's a lot easier for you to jump in and have fun with
Yeah.
it.
No, that makes sense. Cool. Let's see. There are a lot of questions about when people can draft, so I'm just going to
sign up anytime unknown.
We're working on it now.
Yes.
We are actively
We're
working
starting
on
to
it.
clear the
There are
open
devs
queue right
working
now.
on this right now, and if you're watching the stream, you're not working on draft. Go work on draft.
With complete transparency here too. In about 9 minutes, we're actually kicking KO out of here
go
so that
work
he can go work on draft. So we're working on it.
Yeah.
Believe me.
It's a
I mean,
super
I've already
important
iterated on
part
stream
of the
multiple
economy.
times how it's like drafting is like literally my favorite thing to do in Magic, and it's
Besides,
the
I like
day
playing
that
it.
I can start drafting in MTG Arena, like that's what all of our gameplay streams are going to be.
Well, and this is a very dev reason, but just to explain, the draft we want to get right, but it's more of a known for us in a lot of ways than understanding this interplay of wild cards and gold and all the rest of it. So we really need the feedback now, which is why we've done that first. And then draft, we of course want to knock it out of the park too, but it seems better as the second beat.
Cool. So this is a very interesting question that Omega Bees has asked. I know that
Omega
we
Bees,
don't
shout
have
out.
specifics on this right yet, but it is something that is very much on our mind. It's a how are we going to bring newer players not to Magic but to MTG Arena in what's their early experience going to be like? The question is kind of what do you start the game with?
Yeah.
Like do you have starter decks, free packs, these kinds of things? This is something that's on our minds right now for what people's initial
We're
experience.
actually also working on it too. I think the big point of it is you can't start from zero. You need lots of cards to have fun with Magic. So we're going to give you lots for playing, but we're also going to start you off with some pre-con decks, and we're going to give you better decks to earn
Pre-con
through the
decks.
quests at first.
Okay.
So rather than just gold will be in the mix.
Yeah.
We want to give you coherent decks that feel fun that you can then mix together, and you mix those not only with themselves but with the cards you're earning.
Yeah.
So we want to give you a really good starting point for the game.
And a big part of going to this wildcard system was to enable advancement throughout a wide place. What we didn't want is somebody to come into Magic, be exposed to this wide possibility space and not know where to go, and immediately if they wanted to advance need to go to the web to decide what they needed to destroy, again leading to regret. We wanted it to be a very welcoming system where everything is constantly
some of
expanding
that.
for players. They're adding on and growing what they can do, not sacrificing it to achieve a short-term goal.
Yeah, and you can skip
Well,
to the
hopefully
end
the
if you want.
economy will be better than
Yeah,
Hearthstone.
you can. And the big deal is we can give out a lot more value this way.
Yeah.
Because when you can destroy everything and continue to concentrate it, not only do you have the negative results, but we can't give out as much because you're going to add all that up, or it has to be less valuable. We have so many more cards that can do so many more things. It's really valuable to be able to keep access to those things and for us to give away more stuff.
Okay. I'm going to shoot through a couple of these questions where the answers are effectively one-word answers so that people can answer. Brother Howe asks, anyone know if you can keep the cards you draft in Keep a Draft? Yes. Let's see, is draft coming up in the next update? As far as the one that's landing tomorrow, no. Do wild
Code in the paper product to get them online. Yeah. Well, that's what I was talking about, the difference between the size of booster packs being a problem.
Wild cards replace the rarity where they are, as a question Trophy Buck answers, and this is I think that we can get back kind of to opening up a booster pack and what the wild card experience is going to be. You know, you said that you could open an entire pack where every card potentially is like. I'm not even going to use it as an example because it's so statistically improbable that it's not a thing worth bothering. Like, let's just go. Like, if you open up a booster pack and you don't have a rare in its place, you have a wild card instead. What kind of wild card could you see in place of the rare mythic slot in a booster pack?
You would see a rare or mythic wild card.
Okay. If you open up a pack somehow that has 2 wild cards and you are missing a common and a rare mythic slot, what wild cards did you have?
It's a common and a rare mythic.
Cool.
In fact, common wild cards are common. What I mean is they show up a lot. So part of this is you'll be able to build the foundations of a lot of your collections much more quickly because of the rarity system that's in.
That's a pretty sweet point. There's a lot of decks that could use like a 4 of a certain common. The fact that we should be able to get those pretty fast seems sweet. Yeah, that's a sneaky plan, Sundleray. Well, I mean, with draft around, it feels like a lot of people will be filling up the vault. Like, that's a lot of cards to open. You just missed your shot out, Bees. So you're going to be stuffing a lot of stuff in that vault. So yeah, figuring out how to work with that will be interesting.
Inherent to Magic.
Cool. Another question that Thrixix asked is, I guess I want to kind of expand on, as you, I don't know if redeem's the right word, but as you turn a wild card into a card, like a very specific card. Let's say that I have 3 cards of a full play set for an uncommon that I need, and I decide I need this right now and I want to start playing. Use my uncommon wild card to make once I have a full play set, and then the reward that I get for winning my match ends up, having another uncommon that is that exact same uncommon. The question that was asked is, do they get another wild card? And I believe the way that this is where the answer to the question is, that extra card, because it would be a 5th copy at this point, goes into it's
vault progress.
It's unfortunate when that happens, but it goes into vault progress.
And realize we're talking about, you're getting lots of free Magic cards, and sometimes you might get dupes of the completely free Magic cards.
Yeah.
Like, part of this is it's an important point to make.
That was something I was going to ask too.
I understand the whole, how do you make the most value out of my time, right? But really, we also want to give the breadth of it too, while still wild cards are on top of that, the way you get a lot of the value for your time to target it.
This is like the ninth mention of
thinking
breadth.
about it, and the traditional systems of crafting are, they work for those games that they have, but none of these games have our breadth, our player diversity, our mode diversity. So we're actually addressing the same need. We're just giving you a bunch of other cards in addition too.
Cool. So another question about availability of wild cards. Like, do we have any designs right now? I just go ahead and attribute this question. Greg and Joel, you guys are making my life easy. Will people be able to use gems to directly get wild cards?
No. Well, no. Actually,
you won't be able to directly buy wild cards, but
you can't pay for an exact card.
Gems
I think that's
to buy
cool.
Boosters, you're going to get wild cards.
Right. We don't have it right now. We don't have a.
And you should have drilled Nate
for
sure.
Direct this currency.
And it's one of the reasons why the vault will probably, at least at start, have wild cards in it.
Yeah.
Because it's also like, hey, we have a system that makes sure that over time you get the wild card rate we want. Yeah. Plus, we have this bonus pinata that you can get the wild cards. Plus, we have the weekly wild cards. So we want to give you enough that's real. You really feel that that's working for you.
Wild cards are kind of. So much of this is banned, and we knew this was going to be a big thing, so it was already starting to be a part of the conversation, is the desire players have when we mentioned that there was no trading, was we want the ability to get the specific cards that we want so that when we want to start playing our deck, we can start playing our deck. Wild cards are one of our key parts of our solution to how we're addressing this, and we want players to have
Traveler's
wild cards.
Amulet, first pick, Bees.
In a quantity
First wild
that makes
card,
it
Traveler's
reasonable
Amulet,
for them, like quantity
full
and
play
rate
set.
that makes it reasonable for them to be able to do the things that they want to do.
Correct.
Right, and again, we're testing the gold economy right now because we want to make sure that as a free-to-play game, the game works for free-to-play players. And then if you're spending gems to acquire packs, you're accelerating everything in there.
Yeah, we got to make sure the free-to-play part is fun too, right? That's where we have to start with this.
Yeah. All right, let's see.
The moderator in chat was like, stop spamming questions the whole time.
That one thing. DMK218, please tell me they put a timer in. We did. It's
We need a lot of feedback on it too, because
the
we're trying out some new stuff.
Yeah, the
Timer
economy
sounds
is obviously
crazy. I
the
don't know
hot,
if you guys are on the arena forums. They have
topic,
a
but
lot of
we
info
have
about this
so
update
many
on the arena
things coming
forums.
out with the Rix launch. I believe the patch notes ended up being a little over 5 pages. I was writing those up late last night.
to
There's
read.
a lot of stuff we're really excited to share.
The
I know
timer's got a
because we
lot of
play
things
lot,
going on.
I'm really excited to get in and play the new release.
And there's Rick.
I was actually going to say
by
that
the way.
it's called the Rivals of Ixalan update because it contains Rivals of Ixalan.
Right.
So
We're releasing.
Are you guys going to buy Ixalan cards? I feel like I'm just going to open nothing but Rivals packs. Like, everything's going to get a wipe anyway, so I don't care too much about building a particular deck. And I'd rather just play with all the new cards. I don't know. It wasn't up for me when I started this stream, Bees. I think Sundleray says he's not in yet. CGB's still streaming, which makes me think he's not in. Anyway, what were you talking about?
Rix.
weird.
I'll be back in a minute.
Rivals Ixalan. Yeah. I feel like I'll just use wild cards to pick a few of the Ixalan cards I need. You're going to mix it up, Bees? But I'm going to just try to get all the Rivals cards I can. Though there's an incentive to building and brewing. We'll see how quickly I can get cards.
Yeah, no, not you.
I'll
We
be
gotta keep
leaving
you
in a
on.
minute.
Actually, this is a good transition point for us to
All
go
right.
ahead and kick you out of here.
Sounds
This
good.
catch is only big enough for one Chris.
That's
so
right.
I can go back to calling you Chris when KO leaves. So. Thank you very much for stopping by and giving us your time. Like you're a busy man. Like there are so many times you and I have to have conversations, and you're just like not in your office, and I have no idea to get a hold of you. So
Dude's
getting
dodging
captured
Nate.
has been nice.
Thanks to everybody who's watching. Keep sending in the questions.
Intentionally
We are
dodging
trying
Nate,
out
'cause
some new
Nate
stuff
probably
here in
just
this space,
talks and talks and
all for
talks.
the purposes that we've said.
You know those
So we're
people
super
in your
excited to
office,
see
right?
How it plays and what people think.
Cool.
Cool.
Awesome.
no
Well,
way
we're
you could
we're
even
gonna
say
kick you
hi
out
to
of here.
them
Make
'cause
sure
you're
you
just
take
gonna
off your
go
microphone. Don't trip over anything. Don't kick the camera. Like don't just stand in front of the camera like a
Yes,
friendly
please.
human being.
Good luck, all.
Yeah, don't worry. We're gonna sit around. You still got us for 15 minutes. So once he's out of the room, Chris and I are gonna be able to continue to answer some of the questions that you guys have.
No, they got to test all that now.
Let's see.
It's all being tested now.
I guess there are definitely some people.
Only
I
thing
want
I
to
know
let you
is
know if
gems
you're
aren't
asking
coming up
questions
for a
that are
while.
clearly spelled out in the article or have been clearly spelled out at another point in the stream. I'm going to try really hard not to read them so we can get to some of the ones that require a little more nuance. So if I'm not answering your question, please go to dailymtg.com and check out the new economy article. We're also going to have, for players who are interested in checking out some of the frequently asked questions, you can actually go to mtgarena.com/FAQ, and we have added a section to the public FAQ, or we will have added a public section to the FAQ. I think if it's not live now, it'll be live by the end of the stream. That answers some of the more frequently
get my
asked
dog.
questions
One
people
question.
are going to have
Right
about
back.
the economy. So sorry, this is not a disrespect thing. It's just there's a lot of questions, and we want to try to get to the ones that.
So ask them.
No. Let's see. Some of these are not about the economy. So, I'm gonna ask this question, even though I know we don't have a really good answer for it right now, simply because we don't have specifics for what our expectations are when it comes to people being able to complete decks. It also varies based on the path that you take. Plaxcaster55 says, how long is it going to take them to build a 100% deck? Like, I know that's going to depend. That's going to depend on what you're starting with, as far as what's in your collection at the time. Like how long you've been playing, how many wild cards have you stored up? Like, do you want to accelerate things with gems? Like, there's a lot of questions. Like, I think the best way to approach this is,
Nice.
you're not gonna be able to give me a time frame. But like,
I mean, I can speak a little bit to our process there.
Okay.
In that one of the things we looked at closely was how different players of different play styles would get to a tier 1 deck. And we looked at a lot of different math, ran many simulations through our system to see the different rates of acquisition. And we've tried to tune in the system for a rate of acquisition that we are happy with, that we would be happy playing. Doesn't mean that we're right, but it has been tuned to make that an enjoyable experience for a free-to-play player. Players will tell us if we're right or not.
Yep.
We'll see.
All right, to continue to clarify some of this wildcard questioning, Remora asks, are wildcards going to be in draft packs? That my expectation will be the answer is no, because I don't think those would have any way to actually be used in a draft.
They will not, but because you are opening packs as part of a draft, they do give Vault Progress.
Okay, so because you get you do get those cards in your collection, so as you open, if you open the 5th copy of a common, that is just once you're done with the draft.
That's going to give you Vault Progress, but just opening the draft pack. So just for playing a draft,
just
you're
for
getting Vault
opening
Progress.
packs.
Oh, that's super sweet. I'm learning things. I actually did learn that just now. So,
Always on top
let's
of it.
see.
Head of community relations. Always on top of it.
Are we going to talk about gems and what they can buy? Yeah, we can talk about gems some. Gems, to reiterate from earlier on, we did kind of move quickly through the currency portion at the beginning. Gems are the in-game currency that you can get using like real-world currency. It is the I spend my whatever your
can
local
you use
currency
Bitcoin?
is, and get the gems. And gems are used kind of to fast-track progress. Well, what are players going to be able to use
I don't care.
gems for?
I don't have any Bitcoins.
I mean, the simple ones is you will be able to spend gems to buy packs in the store from all the various different boosters for the different sets. You'll also be able to use gems to get into events. You'll still be able to get into those events with gold. They're not an exclusive path.
So while we're on this subject, there's 2 other things I want to piggyback on this that are not chat questions, but things I think are important to answer. Right now, what are we looking at? What can you spend gold on? First and foremost.
And you can spend gold to do everything. Gold is our way for free-to-play players to experience a free-to-play game.
Yeah. So it is very important that we draw the distinction that the things that you can spend,
but you cannot directly
gold
buy
on
wild
are
cards
the same things you can
or a
spend
card.
gems on right now. There's no game content. No.
And I think that's
mandatory
fine.
Game
There's not
content
a lot
or
of
available
pleasure
game
in
content,
buying a card.
in terms of the things that are required to play the game that you can only purchase with gems.
They're really only
Correct.
interested
The only
in pleasure.
thing
Like
that
I
we
agree,
would
being able to
potentially
just
gate
buy a
behind
card
gems,
is not a
is
pleasurable
cosmetics.
experience.
Okay. So the only cosmetics
Packing a card
potentially
is
for
way
gems
more
is things you can
pleasurable.
acquire. Everything else you can acquire with coins as well. So okay, cool. Tied to this, you mentioned that you can use these for event entry. I don't know if we have the full details of this stuff worked out right now, but like, are we going to have avenues for people to play the game that don't have kind of an entry, like a currency cost associated with them, like a gold cost or gem cost associated with them, like ladders, for example, ladders that we have right now. Those are going to be things that you can sign up and go, or are we still kind of looking at what the model is going to be for entry to those events?
Correct. Essentially, you're going to be grinding through constructed games of some sort. So standard constructed, whether it's in a ranked queue or a casual queue. If you're playing competitive,
He mentions ranked and casual queue. That's important. I really like casual queues. Sometimes you just don't want to always play a tier 1 deck. So casual queues are sweet. And I assume we're not going to have to pay money. If you have to pay like 10 coins just to play a ranked match, I think that's a bad system. But he said they want you to grind through the queues, which makes me think the queues are free. So that's good, because the other way would be bad.
competitively with other people in one of those queues,
Yeah.
you're making progress towards your quests, your win bonuses. And then events are going to be where we look at things like draft, at sealed, and all of the other fun events we're looking to do.
It's mostly I know we want to make a distinction so that people know there's a difference between like the ladder, like the kind of ladder-ish stuff that you've got, and events. Events for right now, like it's for us that means a lot of times like when you think of the things that fire at your local store, this is what you're thinking of. Like the others, it's more like it's not looking at records.
Pre-release events? That'd be hype.
Compartmentalized ladders, effectively.
Yeah, and it's one of the places that is another avenue for getting rewards. So, when you're in an event you've paid into, that's also going to pay out additional things on top of the win bonuses.
Cool. So wanted to make sure that we got a chance to help clarify some of this also. When we're looking at opening booster packs, we talked earlier about how opening booster packs is one of the ways that you will be able to get wildcards. And
I think it might be up.
Wildcards are
CGB stream is
within
over.
your booster packs. We've kind of got a system
Arena
set
might
up
be
right
up
now. We know where it gets easier over time if you are not opening up these wildcards to find yourself opening up a wildcard. And then we just wanted to kind of expand on that just a little bit, make that a little bit clearer for people. So can you kind
this
of
is the third time you've talked about it.
Yeah, so essentially the way you can think about it is you always have a chance to open up a wild card, and each time you don't, your chance increases. So we know that
it's pretty straightforward. I don't know why we're at this is the third time.
A wild card, you are going to get one.
Okay. So it's just about making sure that the statistics get more in your favor as time moves on.
Yeah, having dealt with
probability gets
random throughout my career, going to random has its downsides, for sure.
I hope you do, Bees.
Can you
I wish
talk
you the
about
best
cosmetics?
in that pursuit.
Hernan J says, not right now. We're exploring that, aren't we?
Yeah, we have ideas of where we really want to explore with cosmetics, but that is still on the drawing board stage. So I don't want to go into details on that just yet.
This is actually one of the really cool things for you guys who are
clearly going to have cosmetics
in the closed beta or going to be getting into the beta.
Sell them for
sure
gems.
Feedback on.
Why wouldn't you make
There are a lot of places within the game that you could potentially think that you might want to have some sort of personalized experience or personalized expression. Tell us. We have an entire subforum that's devoted to both feature requests, and we have another one that's devoted to look and feel. Get in there and let us know, hey, I really wish that I would be able to customize this particular area. We read that, and that just tosses more ideas out there for us to, bat around on the dev. Well, I guess not us, but the dev team to bat around on.
You guys should use those forums.
I would throw out there to everyone who's watching who is in the beta, thank you so much for your feedback. I've been in the industry for a long time, and I've never interacted with a community that has been so constructive and
we're the best.
Helpful in getting us to the point where we're refining the game, we're getting the rough edges out of the way. We still have a lot more work
avatars,
to do,
board
but
skins.
with each release, we're looking at the feedback, we're responding to it, and making improvements. Doesn't mean we're always going to do everything that's suggested, but it's been really a privilege to work with the beta community.
You guys are the real champs.
I really tried to be as constructive as possible.
And then, this has been a popular enough topic. We're obviously going to continue to try to engage people via social. We'll get to that in a second, and try to find more opportunities for us to answer some questions that we can. I highly recommend you again go to mtgarena.com/FAQ and go to Daily MTG to check out the economy article. Last couple questions. First, just again for clarity, Sergey Lunev asks, do wildcards store up, or are they things that you burn effectively? Like you have to use them and convert them immediately?
They store up. You're not burning them or losing them.
This speaks again to something that we'd mentioned earlier, where it's helpful, especially at rotations.
They listed to some posts.
You've got some of this stuff stored up, and it helps kind of catapult you forward towards the progress that you're looking to have, the decks that you're looking to have in the future. The other one, and this is a really good point of
they probably had a lot of this in mind. Just couldn't implement it right away.
Why is there a difference, if we can answer this question, between the number of cards in a booster pack within the game, like the reward boosters, and the draft pack? Why did we choose to go with an 8-card booster as opposed to a 14-card booster?
Wild card arena, hell yeah.
A lot of it came down to...
I need a wild card emote immediately.
Aesthetics, in some cases. It's really overwhelming for especially new players to be looking at a huge booster on screen as their first experience into Magic.
You can't handle the size of their boosters.
Through a lot of our testing that the 8-card booster pack actually tested quite well. Another reason for it is we wanted to, with our booster packs, reach a lower price point and still guarantee that mythic or rare within the booster pack. It was a really important element to us, and by combining them down to 8 cards that let us accomplish
It's
that.
funny. It's one of those things that I've always had in the back of my head. Like, I bet it's because you get more value. Like, for every common that's in the system, there's more uncommons and more rares and mythics. And it turns out that that's actually the case. That's good news.
Yeah, funny that we found that people typically want to chase the rares, mythics, and sometimes uncommons.
Cool. That's actually, man, I do want to get through.
Yeah.
a
If
couple
you've got
more.
non-economy questions, I'll answer them.
Yeah, like I do want to get to a couple of these things. Like there are people asking, like, are there
Yeah,
caps?
well, probably
in terms
right
of
after this,
the,
Bees,
like,
if it's
amount
up,
of,
and
like, for
definitely
your daily
tonight.
rewards. We already have
Definitely tonight,
we have
Bees, if
match
you're
win
around.
rewards per day.
I miss your pugs and
Is
smoke
there
alarm.
a point when winning no longer gets you a reward?
After you have won 30 matches, winning will do you no more good.
Winning
If you have won 30 matches,
Poor Ninja.
I'm all for you going to take a break
yeah.
because we want you playing tomorrow.
You know, in all fairness, like watching, like I watch a lot of streamed games, and that is very rare, except for on some of the 24-hour streams, even for a lot of the better players, to hit 30 wins in a system. I mean, it's going to be tough, but we have people out there who are super happy to do it, and I've met a lot of our content creators in the future. Definitely going to make runs of that 30 pack bonus or 30 win bonus, but yeah, there is a cap. Let's see.
Yeah, right.
Are wild cards set
Eat?
specific?
Who's
Wild
got time
cards
for that?
are,
I don't have
like-
the complete set yet.
as of right now, the only stuff that's in the game is the stuff
standard.
from, like, I mean, it's not even all standard, but it's all standard legal stuff right now. And so you can, like, as it is right now.
All right, here's a question for you guys. Supposedly, these wild cards get any card from standard. So if you open a wild card today, you going to take a Rix card, or are you going to take, like, Chandra or Heart of Kieran? Because opening up standard, like, right now, is kind of what they're implied. I don't know if that's actually going to be the case, but what would you take out of all of standard if you had a rare wild card?
You can redeem those for the cards that are in the game. In the future, when there are more things than just what's in standard, we're going to kind of
Yes,
we're
more
gonna look at
wipes.
things. So, but
More wipes.
that's it.
No need
But
to
they are-
save anything,
They're
really.
specifically not set specific.
They are not specific. So I think that's probably going to cover a lot of this stuff. I'm getting some questions at the end about closed beta. So this seems like a really good opportunity to let people know more about the closed beta. We talked about it a bunch. You can go sign up for it right now. And yes, we have had a lot of people sign up who have not gotten in yet because there are about a lot of people who've signed up. And we are going to continue to ask a lot of people to sign up. So please go to mtgarena.com and get signed up for our beta. If you are on
30's
the
a
priority
lot,
list, you
Bees.
should have received your NDA invite
And if
by
they
now.
have draft, then
we cleared that
30's
full list
plenty,
yesterday,
I
which is
think.
awesome. So if you haven't, we'll have some communication out tomorrow.
Just go
Pay
make
attention to
some
our social
decks
channels,
after
which
you
is a
get
good time
30
to plug the
wins if you
social
still want to
channels.
play.
Pay attention to those social channels tomorrow, and we're going to have some messaging that goes up. It should be tomorrow, I should say, that lets you know, like, what the process is for making sure if you haven't gotten that NDA and you believe you should have because you're part of the priority list.
Get in, everyone. Get in.
Please sign up for the beta.
No.
Like, it's as Chris was saying
30
earlier,
wins?
everyone's been great, and it's been like there have been things like I don't want to speak out of
planet are
turn.
you
There have been
from?
things that we
Fatal
had
Push?
initially in that have changed since they were in based on feedback.
That's
right?
even
There's,
uncommon.
Like, lots of things.
You don't
that
even have to
the players
use
are like,
your
we don't
rare
like
wild
this,
card.
make this better, and then
Full
we
play
did.
set of
And-
Fatal
and
Push would go a
Player
long
feedback
way.
has changed the
in my
priority
mono
order
black
of things
deck.
that we're working on. It's like,
Yes.
whoa, this is really important to players. Let's make sure that we get that in sooner.
Yeah, just I can't drive this home enough that like we have very good ideas, but we do not have perfect ideas here. And the only way that we can make sure that we hone in on making sure that this is the things that everyone wants is for people to play it and tell us what they want. So
And oftentimes we are very busy making the game,
Yeah.
and we don't get as much playtime as the players do. So again, it is really valuable us for them to give us their feedback and give us their perspective.
yeah, it's also
If
perspective
each
change on a
game
lot of
lasts
things.
10
for
minutes,
people
Bees,
who-
and you have a
like, if you've played with
66% win
something,
rate,
but or only
that's
seen it, there's a big
450
difference between
minutes of
having your hands on
gameplay for
something
30
and
wins.
making a judgment on something when you haven't actually had a chance to play. So getting into the beta is the best way to confirm some of the suspicions that you may have about things right now. So please do that.
That's like, what, 9 hours?
All right,
8
well,
hours?
it has been a blast hanging out and talking with you. I'm happy that we're closing on this wonderful two-shot of just me and you. KO joined us for the first part, had to leave. Thank you for tuning in. We tried to... We had originally planned to do about 45 minutes of talking through the system and then about 15 minutes of Q&A, and we realized after today that we wanted to get to a lot more Q&A. So we sped through the beginning knowing we would get some of the questions that we were just going to answer directly when people ask them for us later. So thank you for contributing to this, asking all the questions. Again, if you haven't gotten your question answered, it is...
All right, I think that's enough. I'm going to go check on Arena myself. Appreciate everyone coming out today.